Hey guys, today I wanted to show you how I use the knitting tension fork that I made for the Addi Knitting Machines. All tension forks are made from the same clear acrylic. When you receive yours, it will be white. It has a paper coating on it that just needs to be peeled off to reveal the clear tension fork. I do this so that it doesn't get scratched when it's on its way to you. Okay, to peel the tensioner, this side needs to be peeled here. I peeled the other side already. You just kind of start in a corner and just use your nail to peel it off. And it's a little tricky to start, but once it gets peeling, it peels quite easily. Now the tension fork is designed to go right here into this yarn guide underneath this sliding, I don't know, door I guess you call it. It just slides right in between here, and I'm going to show a little video of that at a different angle so you can better see where it's to be inserted. So you just can slide it right there. It's designed to be kind of loose and not too tight. I don't want it to do any damage to your machine, so I didn't want it to be too tight in there. But that's where it goes. Now the tensioner kind of sticks out a little bit when it's here in the yarn guide. So what I've been doing to try to avoid it being bumped and breaking is I use the little needle holder here, and I just have a large yarn needle, and I insert it through the largest hole, and then I just kind of line it up with the side of the machine, and that's where I keep it when the needle is not in use. It just keeps it a little bit safer from getting broken while inside the yarn, the gold yarn guide. Okay, let's get started. Insert your tension fork and then grab your yarn, and you're going to cast on, this is the only way that I cast on, where you weave the yarn in and out under every other hook. Okay, once you've made it back to the beginning, we're going to thread the yarn underneath the yarn door here and out through that hole. And before you put it into the tension fork, I like to crank out some loose rows. My Addi does not like any tension for about the first 5 rows or so. So I'm going to do 5 rows here, and then I'm going to thread it into the tension fork. Oh, whoops, sorry. Here's the instruction card that I include with all of the orders. It has some information on there on how to insert. You can see some photos here showing you where to insert the tension fork. And then on the back side, I have some suggestions for tension. And I do have the yarn holes kind of labeled 1, 2, 3 right here. The first one is closest to the machine, and that's all explained here on the card. So the yarn that I'm using is Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool, and I like to use tight tension for this one. One thing you'll notice is that all of the holes are, the openings for them are all on the same side. I found that having them all open on the same side and holding your yarn on the opposite side of the opening, it makes it so that the yarn doesn't pop out of the tension fork while in use. So now let's get started. You can see I have a free hand, and I can do whatever I want with that left hand of mine. It just does the tension for you. It's pretty handy. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is that the tension fork being clear, you can see the row counter. However, in my video, because there's a glare, you can't really see the counter below it. But when in use, you can see the numbers as you're cranking away, which, you know, comes in handy when you're trying to take note of how many rows you're doing for your pattern. Okay, so once I've gotten to the end here, I'm going to grab, I happen to have a ton of these yarn needles, so I'm going to use a different one. I'm going to put my tension fork away, and I'm actually going to be turning this tube that I just knit into a pumpkin, so I'm going to grab a really long yarn tail, because I use that to kind of wrap around the pumpkin to make the ridges. And I thought I'd show you guys how I cast off. I actually use my left hand. I crank just a few pegs at a time. And this yarn needle that I have fits perfectly in between these little tiny points here. So I just insert it there and slide it up. And I'm not really ambidextrous, but I've done this so many times that I've gotten pretty good at doing this with my left hand. Once you get enough slack, you can just kind of pick up the stitches like that, and I just do that until I've gotten them all grabbed onto my little yarn tail. Okay, so I'm going to just cast off the last couple of stitches, and I'm going to pull both my yarn tails here just tight so that it's not curling there. And then I'm going to give my work a little stretch, and as you can see, the tension fork has done it. That's some nice and even tension. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video and it helps you better understand how to use the tension fork. Thanks for watching. Bye.